welcome to The Right Track. Today I'm interviewing Sterling Knight. You know him from Sunny with a Chance, 17 Again, and Starstruck. Thank you, Sterling, for being on the show.
Yes, ma'am. It's my pleasure. I'm really excited to be here, and it's a very, very cool setup you got here. I like the lights.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, some time went into, designing the aesthetic of the show.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable? You're good?
I'm feeling good.
That's awesome.
Chair's good. I got some water. I'm set. Let's get into it.
Sterling's here from Texas, by the way.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you don't live in LA anymore.
I don't live here. I'm pretty excited about it. But I'm a Texas boy originally, so it's nice to get back home and you can kind of enjoy that. Being closer to family is always helpful.
When the pandemic hit, a lot of people, especially actors, they moved out of LA because they can audition on tape and they don't need to actually be here.
100%.
Do you like that?
I'm a big fan of that. I mean,
you went to Thailand for a while. Even.
I did. Well, that's a whole thing. So coincidentally, my siblings and I, we decided that we wanted to go on a trip together because I'd been living in LA and my sister had been living in Texas and my brother was living in LA and then he moved to Texas. So we were all kind of disjointed. Mm-hmm. And it was really nice to be able to go out together. Unfortunately, it happened right at the beginning of 2020. So it was like, I think February, the very beginning of February we left. And so things were kind of like murky. And then they got progressively worse as we were out of the country.
I know.
Yeah, and then we got stuck in Indonesia for a little bit, but, good group of people, so no big deal.
Yeah, so now you can basically live wherever you want.
Yeah, well, it seems that way. We'll find out how this progresses. It may change, and I may have to come back at some point, but right now I'm enjoying not being in LA. It's not so where I'm living, it's not so congested. The weather's not as good.
Yeah, what was it, 108 today?
Yeah, I think when I left Texas, I think it was 108 on the heat index.
Okay.
Pretty
well, weather aside.
Yeah.
So a lot of your fans know that you do music, but a lot of people may not know that you actually do music.
Sure.
And I will say, I've known you for a couple years now.
A little bit.
And literally every time we hang out, you've got the guitar, you bust it out, and you have some amazing kind of licks and riffs and you're pretty. Look, you may think what you think. I know that you're hard on yourself as far as the music goes, but you're actually really good.
Thank you. I think that's really sweet. I just always picture myself as the worst version of every guy at that party who's like not really quite socially adept. So what does he do? He finds the acoustic guitar and is like, I can play Wonderwall.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a couple other songs besides Wonderwall.
So how did you even learn to play guitar?
God. So I made a deal with my mom and my dad. Thinking back, I think I was probably 11, 10, 11, 12, like somewhere around there.
Pretty young.
Yeah, not super young. Considering, how young, there are some kids on YouTube that are just incredible. But the deal is my parents bought me an acoustic guitar, and if I learned how to play play and sing 6 songs, they'd buy me an electric guitar. And I find that this is pretty typical of people trying to learn the guitar specifically because it really hurts your fingers. And so I know.
I know.
Yeah,
I've
right?
taken guitar lessons in the past, and I mean, it just rips your fingers out.
Yeah, you got to get those calluses, and that, unfortunately, that takes time and pain.
Absolutely.
And that's the barrier to entry. And so I picked it up, and then they'd hurt, and I'd put it down, and then I'd pick it up, and I'd put it down, and that kind of went for a while until, honestly, I have no idea. It's like a switch flipped, and I decided I'm just going to do it. So I stuck myself in my room, and I just played guitar, and I played all the time. I was not like pouring blood out of my fingers, but they weren't pretty.
Yeah.
And it was not enjoyable. But I think it was a couple weeks, I taught myself 6 songs. How to sing and play, so I got my electric guitar, and that was like the thing. So I'm, for the most part, self-taught, as gross sounding as that is. But I think there was something really cool that I found because I had done piano lessons as a kid, and I was in choir, so I had a lot of music theory and kind of structure in regards to education. But after 2 years of piano lessons, I actually couldn't play anybody anything. which is a weird kind of idea because it's like, oh, like I play piano because I've been taking piano lessons for 2 years.
Was it because every time someone asked you to play something, you got nervous?
No, it's just because I just didn't know. Oh. Like, what's a G chord? I could sit here and kind of figure it out intellectually.
Even with the lessons.
Right, because I didn't know. Because the lessons were so kind of fixated on the structure of things, the theory of things, and I hadn't progressed to the point, apparently, where they teach you what a G chord is, or a G7, or G minor. Or...
So screw piano.
No, not at all.
No?
But there was a method of learning which was more kind of conducive to playing music, which was, here's an A minor, here's a C, here's a G, here's a D. Okay, well, if you know those 4 chords, you can play probably 1,000 songs. But I hadn't learned that way. And so when I taught myself guitar, I just looked at, it was a Beatles song, it was Eleanor Rigby. It was the first song I ever learned, which is such a weird song.
It's cool.
It's a weird
I love
first
the
choice.
Beatles.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah. Bravo.
I don't mess with those people. If you don't like the Beatles, we can't be friends.
I know, right?
So, my sole focus was, what are these chords? Get better at going. The transitions between chords is always the thing that makes you sound way better, especially in the beginning. So I just practiced those 4 chords and going between those 4 chords over and like hours. And that was actually what made it sound okay. And then after a couple weeks, it was probably like 6 or 7 chords, if I'm being honest. But that gave me the 6 songs that I wanted to learn, and I could sing them, and I could play them, and I got my Fender Strat, and I was pumped.
And then you learned guitar. Wait.
That was it. I mean.
So you started with piano, then you got the guitar.
Correct.
And you sort of translated the chords and the chord progressions that you knew to guitar.
Yeah, I mean, so like I bought like a book, right? And it said Eleanor Rigby starts at E minor and then it goes to C, if I'm remembering correctly, which I'm probably not. Then it was like, what's an E minor chord? It looks like this, and the C looks like this, and then just working through that like an inefficient hammer beating the ever-loving mess out of a nail.
Sure,
and that was that was my method. It's probably not the best way to go about it, but I am mostly self-taught. I've had a few lessons here and there, but for the most part, just self-taught, and I just really enjoy it.
YouTube's like a great resource too. I know
YouTube
that I've
wasn't
learned
a thing
some
back
musical
then.
things, right?
Yeah.
I know. Now anything you want.
It would be so
I want to
easy.
know how to DIY my entire house. YouTube.
There's certainly a YouTube video for it,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, you also have a really nice singing voice, which I'm guessing is just, natural talent, or
It's there. I mean,
you've been working on it though lately, right? You've taken some coaching.
I've been trying to work on it. So I've damaged my voice, which is a really boring.
What, you yelled?
kind of thing.
You yelled
I've
too
been
many times at some concerts.
Of course. I go to a football game and I act like an idiot like everybody else.
You actually damaged them?
Oh yeah.
Like
so
what?
I had bilateral vocal nodules
Whoa.
when I was a kid. Yeah.
Oh.
When I was in boys choir, I was
No way.
Yes. So I was on the football team, and I was also in a performative boys choir, and my choir instructor, Mr. Adams, Bill Adams, shout out.
Go Bill Adams.
Amazing man.
What?
Taught me a lot of really good lessons. But he diagnosed me, and I went and saw the ear, nose, and throat doctor, the ENT, as I'm sure you've been to them before.
Yeah.
And there they are, the little calluses on your vocal cords. So I did speech pathology therapy for 18 months, maybe almost 2 years, and kind of learned how to speak and breathe and do better. And I have since lost all those good habits that I established, and they're damaged again. So I'm trying to fix it. But I grew up in musical theater and in choir, so I had a lot of relatively formal training.
Yeah.
But that certainly doesn't mean that I listened as well as I should have.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, look, every time I hear you sing and play, I always think it's really nice.
It's very sweet. Thank you.
It sounds really good. So, it's really cool that an actor can also have, singing and musical skills. Not everybody does, right? And like you said, it's great at parties.
It's great. It's good at parties.
It's great at parties. But also, like, once in a while, like we've been hanging out and you'll bust out something that you wrote. And I'm also equally impressed. Like, wow, okay, so you're writing stuff now. You have an ear for progressions and things like that, and I think that's really cool.
I appreciate that. I mean, obviously, you've got way more experience than I do in regards to the writing aspect of it. I've never thought of myself as particularly adept or talented with lyrics, and for that matter, probably melodies. But chords and the general kind of musicality of something, I've always been really attached to. I was just talking to my mom not too long ago, and she reminded me of something which is stupid and basic, but I think it's kind of funny.
Okay.
And what she told me was that when I was very, very young, like 3, maybe 4 years old, I noticed that Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and the ABCs is the same tune.
Song, totally. Mary Had a Little Lamb, is it?
That is the...
There's like 3 songs.
Yeah. I think 100%.
No, Mary, na.
I'm not Charlie Puth.
I'm wrong.
Puth. I don't have perfect pitch. I'm not that guy. But I noticed that, and like I said, it's dumb. But musically, I feel like I'm a little. Well,
that's
whatever.
not dumb.
That's
perceptive.
I'm no Mozart. Let's just get that out of the way.
I think so.
But I think I've always had a better time at expressing things musically than I have lyrically. So I will stumble upon chord progressions and things like that I think are really cool. And I am always looking to find people that can take that kind of raw, unformed thing and turn it into something better.
Yeah, you collaborate with other people.
Well, hopefully.
In music, I really do believe that, 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 2. Sometimes it's nice to get a couple people in a room, like a band, for example.
Certain songs have 18 writers, and I don't know if that's actually beneficial.
For me, that's too many cooks in the kitchen, but like 3 is a really solid writing number for me.
That makes sense. I had the opportunity to write some original music with a super talented producer team, The Matrix, and they did Avril Lavigne and Hilary Duff's stuff, and they were fantastic. They were really good for me. We jived, and I think that that's super important. You get in the studio,
there has to be a flow.
Yeah, there's a vibe that you got to make sure that everybody communicates kind of the same way.
Yeah.
And I think that we really communicated well, and we ended up writing a few songs, and 2 of them, if I remember correctly, made the album for the Sunny with a Chance soundtrack.
Nice.
Yeah, which was super
Was
cool.
that here in LA?
That was here in LA.
So you were what, like, how old?
Oh, God. 21, I think. Yeah.
Awesome.
If I had to guess.
So can I veer from the music aspect for just a second, and because of who you are, I want to ask you, obviously you have celebrity, and so I've always been kind of curious to ask you, like, what it's like to get recognized on the street. Like, what is it like to walk out your door, to go to brunch or something and have people come up to you? How do you feel about that? And, like, just describe the experience for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously, like, I grew up as a musical theater nerd. So, the cool kid was not really in my cards. But, so that aspect of it was pretty cool. That wears away quickly. I think the thing that I'm most grateful about in that regard is the fact that I always used movies and TV shows, and for that matter, music, as a form of escape. You need a laugh, you need a cry, you need a good smile or something. And that those art forms, for me, have always given me that. And I think that it's probably that way for most people. And so I get really pumped when someone tells me that they were in a dark place and, the giggles that they got really brought them out of that. I think that's kind of like the ultimate best version of that.
People do come up to you.
Yeah. I mean, not. Listen, let's be real. I'm not.
They want to take pictures.
I'm not Zac Efron. Like,
right.
I'm not like my.
But you have sort of a cult following of people. I know this, right?
I mean,
people who have
are
obsessed with your movies or your TV shows that are just.
I think they're very, very sweet, and I don't get it, but I very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I get recognized a little bit when I go out, and I think that
Are you nice to them?
I try to be. I'm not always in a good mood. You know, everybody has their bad days, but I do try to put on a good face if I'm in a bad mood. I'm not always successful at that, I'm sure. But it does mean a lot to me that people would take the time to come say hi and take a picture or get an autograph or something like that. And I think on the whole, I'd say 99% of the interactions that I have are very positive, both for me and for them. I'm sure that there's someone out there that can, you know, get in the comment section and say like he was a jerk, and I'm like, I might have been, I don't know. And I really try not to be. Yeah. But I think it's cool, man. Like, I was never that kid. I never got excited about autographs or things like that, so it's a little foreign to me.
You never were excited about that?
No, I never really cared. I was always
So when you were a kid, was fame really something you wanted, or was it more about the craft, or how come that wasn't exciting for you?
I don't know. I mean, for me, being an actor was never really about being famous, as cliche as that sounds. I mean, sure, some of it is, because obviously I'd do community theater if I didn't care about being famous. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's more about getting paid, because making money is nice. But the reason that I got into acting, the reason I stayed in it, the reason I'm still pursuing it is to give me that therapy. It's super selfish for me because I feel better. It's hard to articulate. There's this therapeutic kind of feeling that I get pretending to not be me for a minute. Like, my problems aren't mine anymore.
Right. You're someone else for a sec.
It's someone else's problems.
Yeah.
And Chad or Christopher or Xander or whoever I'm playing, their problems are totally different, and that allows me to kind of wrap my head around a different set of issues, and that gives me a little bit of escape. And it's between action and cut. You know, my rent is not an issue. Like, the argument I had with my mom doesn't matter. All those, like, little kind of idiosyncrasies and things about being human that apply specifically to my life don't apply anymore. And that's a really nice kind of respite.
That's dope. I mean, that's great. It's an escape for you.
Yeah, that's kind of why I dig it. And as I've been involved in it more and learned more, it's such an expansive kind of thing as well as music is. There's always more concepts and more things that you can delve into and learn, and it really offered me a great space to explore aspects of me that I wouldn't normally look at, and it offered me a chance to, I don't know, find some sort of escape for a little bit. And I really love it. So it's cool. About the craft, I guess, is the short version.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think a lot of people find music as a way of escape too.
For sure.
Like, you can write a song that has nothing to do with your life and just step into somebody's shoes for a second. Or I find the harder songs to write are the ones where they really do come from the heart, because then you're just being super honest and vulnerable, and so
just getting too raw.
In fact, while we're on this topic, I must say, as a songwriter myself, it's a lot easier for me to write a song for another artist. Let's just say a country artist or something.
Sure.
Just somebody who's got a totally different vibe, a totally different lifestyle, and a totally different perspective.
Right. Because
I get to step into their shoes and help them write theirs, rather than writing a song for myself, which is all about who I am and very vulnerable.
Yeah.
I can do both, but one is a lot more freeing and the other one is a lot more internal.
That's super interesting, but it makes sense, because there's something about being that vulnerable, especially in a medium that is
public,
recorded in public.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you were able to write for different genres, I find super impressive, because I don't think I could. But then again, I can't write pretty much anything, so that makes sense.
Yes, you can, but okay. So I definitely want to bring this back around to music. But I did want to ask you, Can we talk about Demi Lovato for a second?
Sure.
Because I just watched her documentary, right? And I saw that she had some things going on with some shady characters around the same time that y'all were working together. And I know there's probably like, I don't know how much you know about that sitch, but can you talk about that? And what did you think of her doc? And like, how's your relationship with her now? And
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'll say this. I thought the documentary was incredibly brave and courageous and well done. I know it's got to be really, really hard to be able to put yourself out there personally like that. And it was very raw. And I thought that the filmmakers did a good job, just as a side note. But I'm sure that that was hard for her. And I think it was probably fairly therapeutic. And I think that that's important. It's obviously kind of public knowledge that she was going through a really, really hard time, and she was. And it was tough for everybody. It was tough for her, it was tough for everybody in the cast, everybody in the crew.
did you feel that heat? I mean, were you involved in any of that? Like, you know, even as a bystander,
Well, I mean,
was the vibe off?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I think everybody's involved. I mean, you know, you work with people, and if
there's drama,
if someone's going through it, then it's going to bleed through in some aspect. And I think the biggest thing that I noticed, and I've said this many times, and I will say it till I die, that Demi is one of the most talented, hardworking people I've ever met. And I think that looking back on it, because obviously some time and some perspective is helpful, I think that she was working way, way too hard. And I'm sure there's plenty of blame for that to go around to multiple people and entities and things, and all of it's kind of in the past as far as I'm concerned. But she wasn't handling it well. I don't think anybody else was handling it well. And it made life really hard for lots of people, myself and others included. I will say that after lots of the kind of more crazy things happened, and she ended up leaving the show, and the show kind of transitioned to a different thing. She reached out to me, and I went over to her house, and we hung out, and we kind of talked things through for probably a couple hours. And me and her are good, and I think it's just so hard for a 16-year-old to be put in that position, to be that responsible for that much money and that many people.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I wasn't 16. I was 19 when the show was going on. And
you're a little older than she is?
Yeah, I'm a little bit older.
Okay.
But that's just really, really tough. And I don't know how I would handle it. I don't know how anybody can assume how they would handle it. It's just a really, really rough, nothing good about it situation. And I think that in moving forward from that, these years later, I think she's handling it really, really well. I think the documentary was important for that.
Not only that, but surrounding the documentary and surrounding her, coming out with her story and talking about it, the music got... That song she sang at the Grammys with the white dress. Oh my! I cried. I've cried every time I watch it. I can't.
I cry most times Demi sings.
Really?
Yeah.
She's so good. Her voice is so good, and I gotta say, it's like, man, the music was good, and she translates her pain so well.
Yes, and I think for her specifically, I think music has been and will continue to be her salvation personally, of like really, really utilizing that creative outlet and getting all of that pain and all of the hurt and all of the joy, like the whole range of emotions, getting that out, I think is so important for everyone. And then you talk about someone who's as gifted creatively and musically as she is, that's obviously a really, really perfect canvas. So I would assume that when she's pushing the boundaries musically, she's probably feeling better personally.
Oh yeah,
would be my guess.
Yeah, that would be my guess too.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider having a career as big as hers in music? I mean, okay, obviously, it's not like you can just snap your fingers and it'll happen.
Yeah. If I could pick up the phone, like I'd pick up the phone.
But would you be open to taking your music to that level ever?
Yeah.
Would you like that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've always really, really enjoyed performing in front of people. Starting off in theater, I think the reason that I've really kind of glommed onto sitcom, and done more of that as opposed to movies or single-hour dramas or something like that, is the fact that we shoot in front of a live studio audience, and it's as close to theater as you're gonna get. And I really, really thrive in that setting.
You like being live.
I love it. There's so much pressure, and there's this. Was it last year or something? I did this stage production in Los Angeles, and it had been so long since I'd done a play, and I remember opening.
Is it the same play that we went to go see you
Yes.
in?
Yeah. Good.
That was good.
Be a Good Little Widow. Yeah.
Yes,
It was a great production.
Really good.
Brandon Bear was the director. He was phenomenal. Adrienne Visnick was my scene partner, and she was fantastic. God, she worked so hard. And there was.
It was your play wife.
Yeah.
Y'all were great together.
Yeah, she played my wife.
Yeah.
But there was this moment, opening night, where I'm getting raspy and excited thinking about it. We're standing backstage, and you're kind of on stage, but you're behind the scenery and the walls and whatever. But you can hear everything. You can hear everybody loading in. You can feel this. There's a tactile sensation of energy and anticipation, and it's like the greatest drug ever. Like,
I love that. I'm even getting excited.
I really, really can't describe it. It's like
awesome.
It's the most wild sensation of just being utterly elated and nervous and excited, and you want to throw up, and you want to crawl in a cave and die, and you can't wait to jump out there. It's just this cavalcade of emotions. And I looked at Adrienne, and I was just like, this is as good as it gets. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, this moment right here is like, mainline this to me all the time. I want it. Gimme. She looked at me like I was crazy. And it wasn't until after the show that she was like, you're right. That is the best feeling. But Adrienne does it. She's been doing plays a lot more frequently and more recently than me, so she's probably a little bit more desensitized to it, and I was just absolutely ready to receive it.
I've heard, sort of from my music friends and from my performer friends that because of the pandemic and everything's been online, that there's going to be this new surge of people that want live stuff. Live music, live plays, live everything.
I hope so.
It may go that way, and that would be really cool.
I think it's important for people to get together and share this common feeling of, whether that's worship or a rave. You know what I mean? They're not too dissimilar in regards.
Together.
There's
really
this uplifting togetherness that really, I think, is important for people.
Do you not get that same feeling when you're acting on camera? For example, there is a camera crew. There's probably 10 people in the room. Do you still not feel like you're on stage?
No, there's this different. That's actually a really good question. No, I don't. And there's way more than 10, especially as long as you're in a not super confined space. There's a ton of people. There's lots of stuff going on, but there's this disconnect, and I can't really describe it.
Is it because everyone has a job?
Probably.
They're not really audience.
Yeah, no one's really a viewer.
Right.
No one's really paying attention. The sound guy is watching the little sound bar on his fanny pack, and the camera operator isn't watching your performance. He's watching the little grains of focus to make sure that you're in focus, and the second camera operator is worried about where the hell he is on the dolly and making sure that he's in position, and it's just, everybody has a job, and if anybody messes it up, then it all goes to hell, and we gotta start over. So you don't really have there's no captive audience, and that's probably, I guess, the biggest difference. But
right.
But no, it's nerve-wracking for sure, but there's not the same sort of electricity and release that happens in theater versus, on a movie set or something like that.
So, do you feel like you would do well playing guitar and singing in front of an audience?
I mean, I used to gig around LA at open mics for people and friends that I was hanging out with at the time. And I really enjoyed playing shows. I just recently did a few, I guess you call them sets, at Georgia College in Milledgeville, and they were doing a big charity event. My aunt works for the college, and so she asked me to come down there, and I said absolutely.
Did you play by yourself or with a band?
Yeah, no, it was just me and an acoustic guitar. And
do you like that format, or do you prefer collaborating with a band?
I really like the band.
Yeah, me too. I do.
This is how much of a dweeb I am. Like, I love playing rhythm because I'm not an accomplished soloist. But, oh man, the feeling that you get when you hit a chord change and the drum hits the syncopated fill and hit that crash or something, or whatever it is that he's doing on the drums just right, and the bass comes in and slides up to that note just right, and the guy that's playing the solo just really nails that bend, and everything goes, yeah. It's like the effect is that it's greater than the sum of its parts. I'm butchering the saying.
No,
but
I
it's
absolutely agree with
like
you.
that. It's the coolest feeling.
It's the coolest
and you get
feeling.
to look around and you're like,
when things
we're doing it.
Yes, things
right?
are in sync on stage,
Oh,
and everyone else is feeling it,
so
and that's cool. And like everything, bands have off nights too, which I've experienced, and then you're just getting off stage like, oh man. And then when you have your on nights though, I live for the on nights. They're great.
That's as good as life gets.
Yeah.
You get off stage, like the rush, like that feeling.
I know.
You want to make that last forever, and it can't, because nothing ever can, I suppose. But yeah, if it's just you up on stage, your tempo doesn't matter because it's all on you, and like you have a little bit more freedom, I guess.
There's no dance,
but there's no give and take. Right. There's no listening.
Yeah.
And I think that's the coolest thing that I realized when I started playing with bands more, is the fact that like I'm listening to you, you're listening to me, we're all listening to each other, and we gotta make sure that
we're dividing our attention in so many ways. It's a challenge.
Yes, and but when it goes right.
Oh my God. Heaven.
Come on.
Do you mind playing something?
No, I can play a little something.
Do you, like, your guitar's right over there? Can you grab it?
I don't actually
you don't mind,
leave
right?
the house.
That I'm asking you for a sample. We want to hear you.
Oh. Just hit that. That's fun. Yeah.
There's a guitar pick hanging around if you need one.
I'm that guy. It's always in my pocket.
Can I request a song?
Sure. It depends on the song.
Can I request Hero?
Yeah. So you'll like this, because the original was actually started up here on a C minor. No, I don't remember the chords here. But that's a little high for me to sing all the time. I don't like it. So I just pitched it down and transposed it. So we'll go down here. Oh. Too low, but whatever. I'm no Superman, I can't take it. Fly you anywhere you want to go, yeah. I can't read your mind like a billboard sign. Tell you everything you wanna hear, but I'll be your hero. That?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, I love it.
It's a good one. Honestly, big shout out to everybody at Disney. I think the songwriting team that did that, I can't remember their names, but I think they were from Norway or something, and they wrote some really, really good songs.
Dude, I've worked with some people from Norway. Why are they such musical geniuses?
Crazy.
I've got
right?
I was surprised.
They're so good.
Yes.
And like the structure of it, like it's just, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, they just did such a good job, and they were so polite with me, because I came in 5 days before we started shooting that whole movie. So I was running around with my head cut off the whole time. And they were very gracious and very cool to me.
Like, as far as, like, what you listen to, though.
Yeah.
What genre, and, like, what kind of, like, ticks for you when you hear a song? Like, what makes you like music?
So lately, I grew up on oldies music. So, like, my parents played nothing but Temptations, Four Tops, Patti LaBelle, Elvis, Beatles, Beach Boys, that kind of stuff, until I think I was in 5th grade, and my first CD that I bought, I think it was Matchbox 20. I think the name of the album was, I think it was 3 a.m. It was the same, it was the album that they had, it's 3 a.m. I Must Be Lonely, and it was, whatever that other really great Matchbox 20, sorry, Rob Thomas, my bad. Yeah, I think that was my first album that I bought, and
I remember that album.
It's a great album.
Yeah.
It had, like, the larger guy behind the painted glass that was all wet or whatever. I can remember.
I remember little bits and pieces
but
too.
I can't remember
If we put it on right now, we'd be like, of
I know,
course.
yeah, I know everything. So that was kind of like how I grew up, and then obviously doing theater and boys choir and stuff like that is lots of classical stuff and musical numbers and things like that. But lately, what I've really, really been getting into is guitar-based music, and I think the pandemic is probably a big portion of that, just because I had a lot of time on my hands.
Guitar-based, like, acoustic?
No, like more blues and rock.
Blues and rock.
Yeah,
okay.
oriented. So a couple guys like Joe Bonamassa is unbelievable. Josh Smith is not as popular as Joe, but he is unbelievable. He has great musical concepts in regards to blending these country, like, chicken picking techniques with this incredible jazz vocabulary played over very, very basic blues kind of changes.
You like Chris Stapleton?
I love Chris Stapleton.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
come on, who
I do
doesn't?
too.
Dude,
Yeah.
he you want to talk about writing songs for other people? There's so many. Him and Ed Sheeran, I think, have probably written more good music for other people
Man,
than anyone
I would give
I can
my
think
pinky to work with either of them.
You could take a lot more than my pinky.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
What
could
would
take
you
my
give?
Foot.
Stop.
You can have my foot.
You can do percussion with your peg leg.
You know what's funny is playing drums. I was never good with my left foot anyways, so just hack it off. It's fine.
Sure.
So I'm a lot more guitar-based stuff, just because I've been trying to get better at guitar. I've been trying to learn my scales and become a more accomplished soloist. I should stop playing my pick. But so God, let's see. Joe Bonamassa, Josh Smith. Really, really love this band Melt. That
You played them for me the
I
other
did.
day.
They
Yeah.
only have like 5
Really
songs
good.
out there, and they're so good.
They deserve to be.
I will never ever say no to a brass section.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Ever.
Why would you?
You got a trombone, a trumpet, and a saxophone? Give me. Big fan. And then there's some really, really good Texas country artists that are coming up, like Colby Cooper and Mike Ryan is really good. So I've just been kind of dealing with that stuff. I've been letting Spotify just suggest stuff to me. Marcus King Band is big on my playlist. Tab Benoit is a guy from Louisiana who's just like a swamp blues, like dirty, nasty, awesome Telecaster tones for all of the guitar nerds out there. So yeah, I mean, I've just been kind of going the country blues stuff lately. I used to be really, really big into hip-hop, but hip-hop has kind of lost me lately. It's just a little... It feels less lyrical, and I'm not hearing the same musicality that I used to with, like, Tupac and Biggie, and...
Less lyrical and more what?
I don't know, there's this... I saw Snoop Dogg in an interview, and he was like... And I can't do it as well as he did, but that's about... It's kind of how I feel. It's just,
When he's making fun of...
yeah, he's making fun of like
I
all
saw
the
that
new...
same interview.
Yes.
He's like rappers nowadays. Yeah, and he was kind of dissing on
Yeah, there's a sameness to it, and listen, I get it. Like, times change, and the kind of musical sensibilities of not only the artists, but of the listening audience kind of changes and warps and moves, and it ebbs and flows, and it is this beautiful thing.
So
now... I just happen to not be in that camp. That's not my vibe.
I gotcha.
Whatever. but I'm also like an 87-year-old inside. I'm the most I'm the most boring person. Like I'll listen to Paganini's Caprice 24, and then I'll listen to a really nice old like B.B. King or Buddy Guy blues song that just hurts your soul.
I
Just
love
tears
that.
at your heartstrings.
I mean, there's only one way to capture that essence, and that is to listen to older music. I'm the same. I love old school. I really do.
Yeah.
How can you not, like, if you're getting your inspiration from somebody who came out yesterday,
it's got to come from somewhere.
I'd like it to come from the 60s, the 70s, even the 40s. I mean, that's some good stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, we don't, I would like a resurgence of something that sounds that, what is the word I'm looking for? Something that's that well thought out and that structured and that in.
Yeah,
like
there's
the intent behind
there's a certain
different.
sensibility to, especially music coming out of the 40s, 50s, and 60s that I think at one point you can say it's overly simple, and that's true. Like, there's probably 40 songs,
But it wasn't simple for them.
Right.
To a lot of the people, that was new.
Yeah, and there's something coming from like Baroque and Romanticist classical music that obviously, like, the Beatles is not as complicated as Vivaldi or Mozart, but when you can tell a story and make people feel things with 3 chords, that's a win.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who said it, but I think it was Patti LaBelle or someone kind of similar to that, and they basically said, like, the best melody you can play with one hand. It's simple enough that you can just right hand it and it's not crazy. Mm-hmm. You start getting into all this wild stuff. It's an excellent showcase of your virtuosity, but it's certainly not helping you win any fans because they can't sing along.
Right.
And I think that there's probably this really nice balance of driven narrative storytelling through lyrics and through musical sensibility from the 40s, 50s, and 60s that was really, really streamlined and concise and conveyed a message very succinctly while making it still approachable and able for, a bazillion teeny bopper girls to sing along to Twist and Shout. Right?
Yeah.
But there's a very specific and clear message that gets across very easily with something as simple as Twist and Shout or Come Together or, I Want to Hold Your Hand. I mean, I'm picking Beatles songs because they're on the brain. But
do you hear Michael Jackson's version of Come Together?
Yes.
It was really good.
Oh my God. Michael Jackson. Oh.
Yeah. I loved him.
I learned an acoustic version years ago of Man in the Mirror. And it's one. I love it. It's such a good tune.
The message, wow.
Well, one, the message, and two, just the musical sensibility of going from G to F sharp over D to E minor, like the way that it moves musically, and I'm certainly not the music theory guy. I'm pretty useless at it, but the sensibilities of that, it just rings so purely with pretty much everyone. And the weird thing is that really well executed music that's done from a really, really grounded theoretical standpoint resonates with people and they don't know why. Mm-hmm. Which I think is really cool because like there's someone that's much better than me at the math of the music that can go, well, this is why. But whether you know why or not, it still hits you just the same as everybody else.
Yeah, you don't have to understand music math to enjoy that song.
100%.
What about you? Okay, so are we ever going to hear you on Spotify? Like, I mean, is there any chance that you might consider writing, recording, and releasing a single?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. Again, I think for me, I have chord progressions and musical ideas. I got like a bunch of voice memos on my phone of like melodies and little things that I thought were cool. They just strike me at random times, usually in not opportune moments because I'm not that lucky. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to. Again, I think I probably have more music in me than I have lyrics in me. So I would probably...
I can help you with lyrics.
Well, okay. Well, then I'm going to commission you.
Let's do a song.
It's on video now. You're screwed. Now you have to deal with me.
If we don't do it, you owe me a beer. And if we do it, then I owe you one.
I'm down with that. It sounds like I'm getting a beer either way, so like that's a win.
I know. Did I just mess that up?
No, I think it's fine. It's good for me.
I was trying to make a wager, but
no, I mean,
yeah.
Well, either way, if I'm buying
really
you a beer,
cool.
I'm still gonna buy myself.
Look,
one, so
I just want to hear. I want to hear a song on Spotify that's called "Sterling Night." Title of the song.
Yeah.
And you're good enough. Like I know you're always like self-deprecating about it, but you're fucking good.
Thank
and
you.
I want to hear a Sterling Night song, and I bet your fans would just love that. You know what I mean? Come on.
Well, I mean, I hope so, and I hope it doesn't suck. And I think that's
it wouldn't.
Well, that's probably the biggest thing.
It'd be awesome.
That's the thing that's holding me back the most is just the fear of being bad, and I think that it's probably a good lesson for everyone at anything is that if I've learned anything over the years of acting and any amount of success at anything I've had in my life is that the things that I'm best at, I made the most mistakes and the most failures at, and I did them quickly. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, it's probably a good idea that I go ahead and write some crappy music so that some good music can come out of it.
Look, it doesn't have to be right. You can write. See what I do. I write a couple songs. Yeah. I play them for people that I trust that are either in the industry or have a good ear that I know that I trust.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, out of these 3 songs, like, what's your favorite? Like, you start to get input from other people as to like what they're feeling.
That makes sense.
And music is so cheap to write now. I mean, I make demos all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, just record them here in the studio on whatever, Ableton.
Well, you got some nice microphones. You got some stuff here.
Yeah, okay, so you can buy a couple pieces of gear, but it's easy to make demos.
Whoa. I gotta buy things? I'm out.
We're gonna make a demo tomorrow.
Oh, man, okay. Here we go.
Yeah, we already started writing that track outside, so.
No, that's a fun look.
You never know. It could turn into something.
I really like that riff. I think it's good.
Yeah,
I think you've got some really good sensibilities on the melody line on it. I don't know. Again, I'm really excited for doing that. I think the biggest problem with acting as a profession is that it requires someone else to say yes. Mm-hmm. And as wonderful as that can be sometimes to have a gatekeeper, it prevents a lot of not so good stuff coming out, potentially. But, I'm still auditioning for stuff and taking meetings and trying to find the right project and the right people. And if those things aren't lining up, it's really tough for me to have a creative outlet.
I heard you actually have something lined up with Skatena and
That's
Rosner.
Fair. Yeah,
films?
Skatena and Rosner Films are putting together this movie.
You have like an action movie lined up?
It's like a crime thriller, and I'm really excited about it. It's actually it's a really good script.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm pumped. It's super, I've only done one movie that was kind of similar to this, which was Transit, and that was with Jim Caviezel and Harold Perrineau and James Frain and Elizabeth Rome, and I was way underqualified to be in this movie, but I was lucky enough to do it, and I learned so much. But that's the only time I've ever really done something that was kind of super intense physically like that and very psychologically driven, or at least both physical and psychological. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a really good
Do you have
movie.
like an approximate estimate of like when it will come out?
I can't give you those kind of details.
Oh yeah?
This is very hush-hush.
Oh.
I can't give you the title. I can't tell you who's involved.
Okay.
Other than Skatena Rosner Films.
And we will see you in something.
But I'm going to be in
soon.
it.
Yeah.
Unless I massively screw something up or someone really doesn't like me. But it looks pretty good right now.
Okay, that's awesome. No, I'm excited to see it in the future.
I'm really excited about it. We should be going to filming in the next couple months. We're in pre-production right now, and lots of good things are coming down the pipe. So I'm really pumped about that.
Cool.
But in regards to music, I've been thinking about maybe doing some YouTube stuff for Patreon or something like that. I don't know. It gets really iffy with music rights and residuals and things.
I can show you how to do this.
Get it. Okay.
Right? Okay. So let's just say me and you write a song.
You're on record.
I know.
I want this on camera. I hope everybody. I hope you're getting this right.
Let's say me and you write a song tonight.
Okay.
Okay. And it's not copying anyone else's song.
Sure.
Fully original music. No covers. None of that.
Yeah.
So fully original song. We record it here in my studio tomorrow. Okay. We've got to make sure that your instrument sounds good, that my voice sounds good, provided like I'm singing on it and you're
just the
playing
technical
on
aspects
it.
of it, sure.
Then we would take those stems and send them to somebody who properly knows how to mix and master.
Always a
From
good thing.
there, then we have a master,
Okay.
right? And then we send it to distribution. Now, it's so easy to distribute music nowadays, which is why there's kind of a clusterfuck of artists out there that are good and bad.
Right.
Because, like, for example, I like to use DistroKid, right? And
Okay.
so you just upload it to this distribution platform, and they put it on Apple Music and Spotify
All the
and
stuff.
yada yada. And it's
Right,
like
right,
a
right.
one-time fee of like $30 or something like
Okay.
that. And you can sign up for extra things, like make sure YouTube knows if someone's using your song, and there's all these extra things that you can click. A one-time fee for it'll be on platforms forever, even if you die, it won't, that you didn't pay your DistroKid fees. It's there. It's like, right, like there's all these extras you can sign up for.
It's so wonderful taking something as simple as like playing a guitar around a campfire and then adding all of this stuff to it so that some people can make a living. It's so weird to me, but I get it. It's a necessary thing.
Yeah, and then from there, now it's on DistroKid, for example, or CD Baby, or there's so many of these
any number of companies that
will distribute it to all the platforms.
Right.
Then once it's on there, then you promote it. You do some marketing, you do some promoting, this and that.
That's called Twitter, right?
Sure. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube promotion, all that.
Yeah.
And then if you see the song start to grow legs, like people are really gravitating towards the song. Like if it has enough momentum, you go, oh no, like we better make a music video, but you got to be ready.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Ready for that climb. But I think the most important thing is, for example, like your fans knowing that you do music and actually hearing an original song. I think that would be really, really nice.
That's probably good advice.
And even I personally would love to hear an original from you. I'm just saying, no pressure.
I wish I was a better writer. I really do, because
get with a collaborator.
There's lots of things that I feel like I would like to say, and I just don't know how to say them.
Sterling,
you know what I mean?
Not a lot of people sit around in their room and write songs by themselves.
Well,
not professionally anyway. Most people have a writing room, right? You got to get people to
that makes
collaborate.
sense. I mean, of all the TV shows, it's the writer's room.
Yeah,
it's a safe space where you bounce ideas off of each other and do the whole thing. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you could sit in a room and write something all by yourself, but I'm guessing most of the time it's like a little bit of a team. So
that seems fair. It seems utterly reasonable to me.
Yeah.
Again, so I only have one segment of experience with it, and it was with some people that were utterly above my pay grade and knew exactly what the hell was going on, and I followed their lead and had a great time. So kind of generating that from ground up is a bit it's a little nerve-wracking, but I think you're probably right. I mean,
one person leads to another. Once you know one person that you like and you like the way they work with you, then they know somebody, and you can easily, I think, and sometimes very serendipitously form a little team that really gets you and wants to work on your music.
Great word.
That's one of my favorite words.
I'm such a fan of that word.
Serendipitous.
It's so hard to work it into conversation, but you did that pretty well.
Oh,
I'm sorry, it's totally off topic, but I was like, oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Sterling, listen, I really appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really looking forward to the new Skatena and Rosner Films movie.
Yes.
That you got coming out.
Yeah.
I would like to see you in that role.
You don't get to know the title yet, but
Thriller,
it's gonna be awesome.
That's exciting, and I mean, I don't want to make you promise everyone that you're gonna get on Spotify at some point, but do you want to?
Yeah, of course I do. I mean,
pinky swear we get one Sterling Night song at least.
All right.
Before the end of the year.
Oh gosh, there's a time limit?
Well, okay.
Let's give me 2022.
Okay, 2022. Fair enough.
I think that's...
I like it.
Somewhere in there, maybe.
Okay. Sounds good.
It might happen faster. I don't know. I may put something out tomorrow.
I'm going to text you. Sterling, on January 1st, 2022, your clock is running out, bitch. Have you worked on your song?
Yeah. Do you have a bridge yet? You punk.
Hey, maybe I'm involved. I'm like, hey, get to the studio.
Hurry up.
You're late.
Be better at playing with a metronome. You useless guitar player.
No, but really, thanks again for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And, let's go drink a beer now.
Okay.
Sound good?
Well, honestly, thanks for having me. It's been an absolute ball. Like I said, I really love the setup, and I think this is going to be a really good space for people more qualified than myself. To discuss music and discuss how things work. And I mean, you could have people come in that talk about mixing boards and actually recording instruments, 2 mics, 1 mic.
Believe me, we're
whatever.
going to get into some
distribution. You get the business side of it. There's so many things. I think this is going to be a great venue to kind of centralize some people's acquisition of knowledge. I think it's going to be really cool. So I'm pumped.
Me too. All right. Well, hey everyone, thanks again for tuning into The Right Track. Please don't forget to subscribe for future videos so you don't miss a thing. We've got a lot of really exciting interviewees coming up, and we'll see you next time on The Right Track.